You gits? Alright, so me fine, I'll tell you gits what this game is. More exciting bits, every single time I shows it, there's some kid out there who's all like, "Oi, Glitzdakka, what is this game here?" And I was just like, look for car orc game on the internet, and it's the first zogging thing you sees. It's Speed Freaks, you squigheads. It's like the Umi game Twisted Metal, but better in every way, cause it's orcs! Orcs zooming about in all manner, buggies, tanks, even a stomper or two, doing the two things that Speed Freaks does best, going fast and blasting darker. And if you want to see the Umi get that does all me right and play this game, I guess go hear what's on the screen. I was told that I can't say it out loud or else searchability will be throttled, whatever that means. So anyway, with this new game coming out and all you kids asking me what this game actually is, maybe do some thinking. If this here channel is gonna be about explaining why the orcs is the biggest and the best, I think it'd be a good thing to explain exactly what the orc Speed Freaks and the cult of speed is all about. So, allow old Glitzdakka to be a guide in the wide world of Wazza orcs. But before we do, let me ask you something. We've got all these games about orcs now, right? We got a runny-gunny game with a flash kit called Goodiez Teeth Grabber. We got this game that's all about them there flyboys, and we's gonna get to them flyboys. And we even got the game about the Great Orc War on Armageddon with the Prophet of Gorkamork himself, Glitzdakka. I mean, so me, that don't even mention all the games that got orcs modded in. But the thing with these games is, they ain't very mobile, right? I mean, if you uses a Speed Freak, you can't just lug around that big brick computer thingy to play all the proper orc games on the go, right? Well, that's what this here game, Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus comes into play. Cause you can play this here game anytime, any place on your phone, brick, Android, and iOS thingies. Just don't be playing it while driving, even if you use a Speed Freak. Now, if you kids didn't know, this here game looks simple enough, but each of the many kits to play with has their own specialties. Like being good with darker, or being good at getting stuck in, or even spawning a bunch of boys to club whoever's getting next to you. Not to mention, where you is on the map either makes you harder or easier to hit. So, you've got to do the blood axe thing of tactical thinking. Oh, and speaking of red boys that like to go fast and all that with the Speed Freaks, apparently now yous can play as those big red beakies now. Them bloody ankles or something, I don't know. All I know is, they gets really annoyed if you talk about some git named Horse. Weird obsession with treacherous equine aside, I got to say, I is impressed with these kits as an orc cause as their proper color of red does insist, these beaky gits go really fast. Right, you got this kid Mataneo who looks like a rocket-packed stormboy but for beakies, right? Who can even call in more beakies? Now this kid's highly mobile and speedy and all things like that. But then there's Mephiston. And as a proper red kid, this boy does indeed go fast. Very fast at that. He's so fast he's as all can blur. Plus, he's got a flaming chopper, red and flames, just gotta be the fastest bunch of beaky gets there is. So, over the next month, this Tacticus game is all about these big red beakies with new missions and the aforementioned 2 gits that yous can unlock, and there's all kinds of new loot to get. And if that ain't enough, I've got a special promo code for you kids. Just go to the settings of the game and input the code GIMGAMGUD, and you'll get 2,000 coins and 10 shards for 2 orc characters there to help you unlock them boys or beef them up. So, whether it be for the beakies or the boys, if you wants to check out this game, Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus, use that there QR code on the screen or go to the video description for links and things like that. It's a good game that ours is still playing, so check it out, it's a lot of fun. Now, let's move on. So, Speed Freaks, what is they? What makes them different from other orcs? Well, to put it simply, Speed Freaks and Dakota Speed are a bunch of boys that like going fast. But not just for the fun of it like you homies do. These kids' greatest ambition in life is to live and die going as fast as Gork and Mock will let them. Now, as you lot well zoggin' know, the majority of the Speed Freak orcs that there is in the universe is in the Evil Sons clan. I mean, their color is red, and you know what the boys say, red ones go faster. But the thing you needs to understand is that while every sunny boy likes to go fast, not all of them is a Speed Freak. And not all Speed Freaks is in the Evil Sons. Evil Sons is proper orcs through and through. The biggest thing they cares about is getting into a proper scrap. They just like going as fast as possible while crumping in order to get to the big fight. It's simple, respectable, and relatable, says I. But the thing about the Speed Freaks is, while they like a good fight just like any other orc, they care a lot more about going fast than fighting. Like, Evil Sons like to go fast because it gets them to the fight faster. A Speed Freak's only care in the great green of the universe is going fast. And I mean, don't get me wrong, a proper Goth loves nothing more than the clang of choppers, the stomping of boots, and the satisfaction of smashing it up close. What Bad Moon shooter boys, like myself, love nothing more than the rapid booms of an automated talker, the violent rumble in our arms, the faint clanking of shells hitting the ground, and the colossal explosions of the biggest death cannons we can get our hands on. Every clan has their own special battle bliss, their Ruck-Razar, as we orcs put it. But there's a bit of a problem with the Speed Freaks Ruck-Razar of going fast. With Dakota Speed, if a war boss makes them sit around waiting for too long, the Speed Freaks will rev up their engines and head off to whatever part of the horizon they want to go. And this can be very problematic for a proper war when you was a fast support decided they got too bored of not going fast and decided to just leave with the need for speed. In fact, some Speed Freaks and Speed Bosses is so addicted to the sensation of speed that any kid that makes them have to slow down or mock savior stop, well, they ain't gonna hesitate to club whoever forced them to slow down or stop altogether. So, another obvious problem for a proper war, when the Speed Freaks start fighting with the other boys while everyone's trying to get to the enemy to crump them proper. So, that's the Speed Freak conundrum. Their focus is, fast is better than fighting. Proper single-minded, but if you ask this orc, not exactly the right kind of single-mindedness. But I will be fair and honest when it comes to the cult of speed. While all Speed Freaks is literally driven by one thing, going fast, there's is all kinds of ways that these kids get their speed from. Let me put it here in this, three-point thingy to help explain what the different levels of Speed Freaks is. The most basic boys at the bottom here usually drive one or two things: war bikes and war tracks. Though most of them now just drive war bikes, which I think's a right proper shame, cause many years back, seeing a boy on a proper war track was a right orky thing to see. Cause not only are war tracks bigger, but they also got some more docker to choose from. War tracks could either have twin big shooters or a good old rack of rockets. And what makes them the most orky of all is that you usually had two boys on the track, one driving and one shooting. Just like our two gods, two boys crumping is always better than one. Nowadays though, you almost only exclusively see war bikers, and they's never riding alone, usually in squads of three, but it just ain't as orky to me that way. Plus, what I do love's their Dakka guns. That's the only Dakka days can do. It's flying, it's just too simple for me. Now, the good news is that there's all kinds of biker boys. You got the regular war bikers, you got war bosses on bikes, big mechs on bikes, pain boys on bikes, With the war bikes lack in variety in their Dakka, it's made up with the sheer amount of old boys who become speed freaks. Like I said, anyone can be a speed freak. Don't matter if you use a mech, a boy, a boss, or a dog. And it don't matter if you use an evil sun, bad moon, golf, death skull, or whatever. Any orc can be a speed freak. Even a boy who ain't got no bike can be a speed freak. All they needs to do is hitch a ride onto this truck or battle wagon to get the feeling of the wind in their face. And I mean, I guess there is the speed boss on the war trike, but I'm gonna be honest with you kids, I was not really that much of a fan. Cause these kids got fast, yeah, and in fact there's two of them, but it always leaves me scratching me bones because the speed boss themselves don't drive. Rather, they get another speed boy to do it for them, and that's not very speed freaky of them, says I. Plus, the Dakka is just not that impressive. Like, you got 3 boomsticks, which, that's fine, I guess, but it's a lot less impressive than the Dakka guns, and infinitely more less impressive than the rack of rockets. Then you got the Snagger car, which I admit is right killy, but if you're just trying to claw something while going fast instead of ducking them, I don't know, it just feels like off compared to the rest of the cult. So yeah, they're sort of the bottom of the speed freaks in the cult speed triangle thingy here. And above them, we got all the buggies, and by God's great grin is there a bunch of different buggies. You got the custom booster blasters, a buggy built by an unhinged mech boy with a giant rivet cannon that shoots eating metal as long as an Umi's arm. And don't forget stick bombs aplenty. And when I say unhinged, I mean that one of them mechs decided to build their torso into the gunner seat of the rivet cannon. And then there's my favorite, the Boomdakka Stairs Wagon. This got a proper big chute up front with some burner bottle for the boys. But the star of the show, so to speak, here is the mech special on the roof there. That thing spits out Dakka faster and more consistent than any other buggy, and more does it feel good to shoot. It's basically an oversized Stas gun. There's also the Rucker Truck Squeak Buggy, a favorite of the snake bites, which originally was a high-velocity snack dispenser, but somewhat less snakebite mech boy realized that you could launch any kind of squeak through it. You know, like bomb squeaks. You know, big teeth and big explosions. That sounds like a good time to me. And speaking of a good time, there's the Shock Trunk Dragster. Not only is it Roy Kelly with his shock rifle bolted to the side for some pinpoint Dakka, and a rack of rockets for bigger booms, this thing right here can teleport. Once the zap spinners on the back get spinning, the whole buggy jumps into the warp, where Gork and Mork decide where the speed freak boy is gonna end up. And then the buggy, most of the time, comes out the warp elsewhere past where they got started. It's a bit of cheating for speed, says I, but this buggy can really cover some distance. Finally for buggies, there's the Megatrack Scrapjet. And this buggy's starting to move to the next tier speed freaks to me. Firstly, it's the only buggy with a proper track. And secondly, this here buggy is nothing more than a Dakka jet engine with said tracks bolted onto it. That's where the real speed is, boys. As far as weapons goes, not only does it got a proper twin big shooter, but it's got not one, but 2 rocket launchers. One of them being wing rockets and another being a rocket cannon. That's a lot of boom. And to cap it all off, it's got a big sawed-off drill at the front, perfect for demolition derbying. Now that all might sound impressive, but that's not the final tier speed freaks on this here triangle thingy. Finally, let's get to the Fly Boys. These is the boys that absolutely goes the fastest. Literal supersonic speed. You've got some of the basic Fly Boys like the Death Copter Squadron boys with their rocket launchers and chopping whirly blades. But you also got the Storm Boys, who take their need for speed personally with strapped rockets to their back so their entire body can feel the wind whooshing. But then we get to the proper Fly Boys. Some of the slower ones are, well, Alta Bomber Boys, like the Blitzer Bomber and the Burner Bomber. While one specializes in big booms, the other specializes in big blazes. Both these kits love nothing more than gaining terminal velocity as they dive down with their Dakka, only pulling up at the last second when they drop their bombs on some git. And just like bikers, there's more than one kinds of odd boys who become fly boys. Like the handful of big mechs who need that greater speed and just a war train. So they hammer themselves up a Wazbomb blaster jet. All the flash and gubbins of a big mech's mega cannons, bubble fields and teleport mega blasters, just going so soaking fast that the only thing that you can see is the flash of their zap. And finally, the pinnacle of the speed freak fly boys, the Dakka jet. If I was a speed freak, this would be the thing that I'd be whizzing around in. Not only is it the fastest of all kit jets, but it's also got the most raw Dakka. 6, count them, 6 super shooters. With that kind of Dakka, there's gonna be more lead than air in the sky. So, there's the speed freaks, generally speaking. A bunch of crazy kids that care more about going fast as humanly possible than getting into the biggest fights that they can. How is they portrayed in that Speed Freaks game? Well, I think it's pretty good actually. There's Speed Freaks from all different clans, and there's much more focus with the game's mechanics that focuses on speed, even more so than Dakka. So I think it gets the job done. I'll be happy to go into more detail on all the specifics on the buggies and the jets and the bikes in other videos too. I just want to briefly explain the overarching culture of the cult of speed. So, you kids can finally get off me back about this here game. Now you knows all that you need to know about it, so shut your gob. Anyway, be sure to check out Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus and all the new Blood Angel buggies that is finally getting released in this game by using this here QR code on the screen. Otherwise, as always you little kids, sub up and zog off!